Four people with four unique stories on one mission to disassemble corporate brokerage one bad suit and tie at a time. We are the Rebels of Real Estate.
Woo!
Intro.
Hold on.
What's happening?
What's up, peoples? How y'all doing?
Adam, what number?
Tell them.
15, podcast 15.
See, now that we're at 15, now you can redo the intro.
I need to.
Oh, yeah. Is it
Yeah.
time? I think first
Absolutely.
15
It's time.
time. Let's do a new
15,
intro.
we can do it. So 16 has to have a new intro.
Let's do a new intro.
Can we
Let's do it.
do that?
Yeah, we can work on it.
Awesome.
I don't know if we can do it for 16, but we'll do it soon.
We'll do it soon. By 20.
Yeah.
Let's make a goal by 20.
By 20.
By
for a
20
new
that we
intro.
have it done.
I'm here for it.
So on our last podcast, we alluded to the fact that on this podcast, we'd be talking about social media.
Yeah, let's do it.
Social media, the thing that
The bane of our existence.
the
But
love-hate
also the
relationship.
need.
But
Love hate.
we are going to have a very special guest today who joined us for a hot second on the last podcast, Miss Katie Miller.
Hello, everyone.
Katie.
Katie, introduce yourself officially because you haven't done that yet.
My name is Katie. I am the new marketing manager here, and I'm very excited to be joining everyone. Yeah.
We're glad you're here. Adam's going between two mics now.
Sharing a mic.
Oh, Adam can have two. Boo, 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 boo.
We can get another. We should get another mic.
That would
Yeah,
make
we
sense.
should.
I don't think we have
can.
anywhere to plug it in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. There's only
No.
four
Only
channels.
Four.
Yeah,
Oh, man. We're gonna have to get a bigger board.
Yeah.
Got to get a bigger board.
I'm excited to talk about social media today, especially because there's 3 generations of us here, so we all have grown up differently with social media, or not grown up with
Social
it.
media.
So I'm excited to hear what everyone has to say. What I'm gonna say, let's talk about this first social media platform you use. Let's start there. Talk about the first one you used.
MySpace.
My friend Tom got me into this thing called MySpace.
MySpace.
I forgot about MySpace.
That was my first
I
one.
think
MySpace.
was it
AOL though.
Was it AIM?
AOL Instant Messenger, couldn't it? That can kind of be considered in a weird way.
Yeah.
ASL. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Age, sex,
Age,
location.
sex, location.
Yeah.
Katie, what was
It wasn't a
yours?
weird thing.
Mine was honestly like Tumblr. Like my siblings had MySpace, so I would just like hop onto theirs and just see like what it was about. But I would probably say Tumblr.
Yeah.
Tumblr.
I forgot.
I-
Never had a Tumblr.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it back to a meme that I saw one time, and it was my yearbook was my first social media
Wow.
platform. But if you think about it, like you had to like go out and get people to sign your yearbook. And if you would
didn't
cross
do that.
faces out,
That was the unfriend.
right?
I never did that.
That
You
was the
unfriended people by like crossing their
blacking
face.
their face out.
Yes.
Oh man,
See, there you go.
that's funny.
Is
But
it still a
MySpace
thing?
was different. What, MySpace?
They
Are
don't.
you-
They don't get their stuff signed.
There he is.
Tom Anderson.
MySpace.
We're looking
Did you
at a
like
picture of Tom right
MySpace?
now.
Did you like it?
I loved MySpace. I thought it was great. I love that I could customize my page and music would come on when
Yeah.
people would come to it.
That was cool.
It was
That was
It was-
fun.
I felt like MySpace did a really good job of making it more personalized versus it was more about you than it was about the BS. And there was no feed. Like it was, I don't know. It was different.
Yeah, you're right. I guess there really wasn't a feed.
You weren't like sucked into people's daily BS on
I don't
MySpace.
even. Honestly, I don't really remember.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
literally
Really don't
built your
remember.
platform and people could just find you and send you messages essentially, right?
Yeah, people checked out your page and saw what you liked
Yeah.
and whatever. So it was a little different. It wasn't a daily reminder that you're drinking coffee and you know, whatever, you're going somewhere cool or whatever it may be that people want to share every day on social media.
I never used Tumblr. What was on Tumblr?
It was just like a blog essentially, like
Oh, okay.
pictures. You could write on there too, but I usually used it. It was kind of like a Pinterest for me,
Oh, okay.
like inspiration.
I love Pinterest.
Yeah. I love Pinterest still.
It's dangerous.
hmm
Actually, I've started going back to Pinterest to get away from the doom scrolling on other
Yes.
things.
No, me too. Yep.
So, what did you hate about those earlier platforms? Did you hate anything on MySpace? Did you wish they'd bring it back?
There's nothing that I hate. I don't think I hated anything on him.
You
No.
know, looking back, I didn't recognize it then, but now MySpace had no room for business. So,
No,
you know,
yeah.
and I'm sure we'll get into that, but you know,
Right.
MySpace, you really couldn't promote your business. So there was, you
It was
could
just
in a
about
weird
your
way, but
space.
it was just about you.
It was
Yeah.
MySpace,
It's all
man.
about MySpace. But no, I think looking back, if I could change one thing, it would have been, you know, you could have used it a little better for business. But outside of that, I don't think there's anything I would have changed.
When did that end? Like what?
I don't even
I don't even remember.
I don't think there was an official ending, but it was
when was it? I
Facebook
don't
kind of
remember.
took
Yeah.
over.
When did Facebook even start? I don't remember
So
when
Facebook started when I was in college. I was on the first year it started, and you had to be at college. I don't know if everybody remembers this. So you had to be enrolled in a college to be able to sign up for Facebook. That's how it originally started. And I was enrolled at Penn Tech in Williamsport, and that's when I started Facebook. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, so originally it was like a college platform, like, you know, like social platform or whatever, but you had to be enrolled in college.
Looks like Tom was replaced as president in April of 2009.
Yeah, but nobody used the MySpace for years.
Yeah,
before that,
I mean,
feel
that was
right?
way before that.
Felt like it ended.
I don't
years
think
before
it
that.
is it really gone though, or is it
It's
still
the
out there?
site is still there.
I was gonna say
That's wild.
I want to see it.
All right.
They're holding on for dear life.
there's still probably some people who use it.
No way.
Like
Maybe
I don't know what it is now.
I'm mad I deleted my MySpace though. I wish I
deleted
would have like
mine.
left it up just so I could go back and like it's almost like a time capsule.
Yeah.
Like,
That'd be fun.
The
look at my
nostalgia.
MySpace.
Honestly, it looks like MSN. It just has a bunch of articles and stuff.
Oh, I don't remember
Sign
any
in.
of that. What about now? What are
Now
your
you can sign in using Facebook or Twitter.
Oh my gosh. What about now? What platforms do you like using now?
I don't want to say it, but Facebook.
I fucking
I hate Facebook personally.
I've started to like Facebook a little bit better
Sorry, Zuck.
as the years go by, but I feel like at first I used it more just to like communicate with my family, like keep everyone updated. But now I do kind of like Facebook a little bit more. But I would say my favorite is definitely TikTok. Just it's so easy just to keep scrolling. But yeah, I would say TikTok or like Pinterest, Instagram.
TikTok's my favorite for going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
But it's dangerous.
It's so entertaining and so fun. I agree with you. Sorry,
think-
Adam, were you going to say something? Go ahead, buddy.
I was just gonna say mine's probably Tinder. I'm just
Wow.
kidding. It's a joke. Just lighten
I
the
don't
mood
think
in
he
here.
is. Bumble.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Andrea, don't listen to this.
Oh my gosh. TikTok, I think, has more realness in it,
Yeah.
but it gets a little extreme. And some like that's why I said
Yeah.
like now I'm kind of going back to Pinterest. I do TikTok a lot, and then I'm like I got to get off this thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It comes in
Love
spurts
it.
for me. I try not to go down the rabbit hole.
yeah. The Facebook thing. Here's my thing, and like I liked Facebook when it first came out, because I lived so far away from family, right? So it was like, oh, okay, well this is a way for me to keep connected with the people who I grew up with and the family that I have everywhere. But it wasn't as business. When Facebook first came out, it wasn't as businessy. There wasn't as much business platform stuff on it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'll tell you one of the first industries to utilize Facebook for business was the nightclub and bar industry.
Yeah.
I can say that wholeheartedly that we were one of the first ones because I knew we were ahead of the times even in on terms of Facebook and social media use because you're blasting flyers for your next event and or wherever you are. I would have to say that we were one of the first industries to really utilize it business wise. That's the only thing I like about Facebook anymore though, really, is the ability to promote your business and grow your business that it has. That's probably the only thing I like about it.
See, and I think back to being in the corporate world, and that's when they started going, I'm going to check your Facebook profile to make sure you're not doing anything you're not supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of corporate businesses weren't using it. you know, and still don't use it. So
yeah, we'd utilize it. So in the nightclub business, we'd always utilize it for like people that would apply. We'd be like, oh, let's check out their Facebook.
Yeah.
Let's see what they do.
I think that's just common practice now, isn't it? Like when you,
I don't anymore, but yeah.
Well, I'm not talking about for new hires.
guess I do.
When you hear a name, I'll
Yeah.
search
You
it.
look
Let's
at it,
be
yeah.
honest. I mean, I search it up and see
I
who they
Google
are, you know?
people.
Yeah. When I
I
used to get
Google
leads
people.
for Realtor.com,
Who are
I would
they?
be like, oh, let me check out their Facebook. Let me
Yeah.
make sure
What,
it's a
what
legit
do they
person.
like?
Yeah.
You know, what can I use against them to sell
It's
something
the
to them?
creeper factor.
It is a little creepy,
Yeah.
but everybody does it, I think.
No, definitely. It's like you learn their whole life story before you even meet them.
What platforms don't you like right now? Or don't use? Like Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah.
And they just changed their
Snapchat.
name to like
Or
X.
X.
Yeah.
Well, Snapchat too. Yeah.
Hey,
That's,
did you guys see the X that Musk put on top of
Yeah.
the building? That
Well,
was
it's-
wild.
even the app changed now. It's X instead of Twitter.
Yeah, but I think it's still twitter.com.
Yeah.
Snapchat is the only way that I can communicate with my kids. Like they don't, if I text them, they don't answer.
I was gonna say,
But
did you use
Snapchat,
Snap a
they
lot?
do.
I
when
do
you were-
use Snapchat, but I'm not like one to like all my friends have like streaks. Like it's
Oh,
too much.
yeah.
I use it occasionally, but not like my other not like my generation.
So my kids don't text or call. They don't text anyone.
snap.
Everything is
Okay.
Snap.
Yep.
So like if they meet someone, like, you know, whether it's just a
What's your
friend or
Snap?
whatever, I'm like, hey, did you get his number so you can hit him up? No, Dad, I don't get his number. I got his Snap.
Yeah.
That's what my son says. And I'm like, that's weird. So like they snap each other like as we text.
I can text Keone right now. He won't respond. I'll snap him. He'll respond
It's
immediately.
so strange.
And it's always
me
a
off.
snap of like an eyeball.
Yeah, so I don't even know.
Or this.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think Snapchat is social media as much as it's a form of communication. It's a new communication
Yeah.
form of communication, right? Like people. I know my kids aren't like. I mean, they're doing the videos or wherever they're at, right? So I guess in that sense, like they're doing the kind of a reel or whatever on it. But you know, they really utilize it to communicate. That's just
Yeah.
how they communicate with each other now.
Yeah.
It's weird.
What about wasn't Vine like a big thing for
Oh
a
my
while
gosh,
too?
yeah.
Yeah, for a hot second.
Those videos, they were funny. They were, well, most of
I
them were
loved
funny.
Vine.
That was
Yeah,
kind
I
of
like
like
Vine, too.
TikTok. Like
Yeah.
Or like
No,
reels or
the-
no? No.
The Chive, wasn't that one too?
oh,
Yeah.
Chive. I remember Chive. Chive was weird.
Keep calm, chive on.
That was a whole excuse for people to sleep with each other.
Is that what it was?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I used to.
News to me.
Yeah, so like Chive was big in the
Figured you'd know
bar
about
scene.
that, Rob.
I do. So I ran a bar in downtown Harrisburg, and there was Chive parties all the time, and that's really what it was like a dating It legit was just people to be like whatever to be able to meet up, and then like you know it was this whole like weird. It was weird. Trust me.
What about like Reddit? Do you consider that like a social
I like
media?
Oh, I like reading Reddit.
I like reading
Yeah.
Reddits.
That's almost like a Wikipedia in a weird way.
Yeah.
In a
Like,
weird
in
way.
a weird way. I don't know. It's like Wikipedia meets Facebook or something.
Yeah.
My phone is always dinging with different Reddit forums.
I don't do Reddit anymore. I try to.
I like Reddit.
It's a good. You can get down the rabbit hole on that too.
Sure.
For sure.
You get one subject and then you're like, oh, break off to this, oh, break off to that. Oh my God, he's
That's the ADD thing. Yeah. You start out looking at different types of mushrooms because I'm a weirdo and now I like this mushroom thing, and then not psychedelic ones, just mushrooms as a whole.
Yeah, you sent
And
me
then-
some random text the one day about a mushroom, and I'm like, why am I getting a text about
Because
a
I was
mushroom?
excited about that.
Look at this
find. I was like,
mushroom
look
I'm
what I
gonna
found.
eat.
What'd you find?
I found golden oysters. I found like 3
Ooh.
pounds of
Yeah.
golden
They're
oysters
supposed to
in
be
the
They're
slamming.
supposed to
I've
be
never
amazing.
had them, but everybody
I
talks
go
about them.
back once a week and pull a pound off this tree. It's been
I want some morels.
they're around. This year there's a ton
Really?
of all mushrooms.
Dude,
around.
morels, listen, morels,
They're
you
good.
slice them up and you saute them in some butter in a pan, and it's literally like can't really even explain it. It's
Chicken of the woods
phenomenal.
tastes like chicken too.
Oh, I heard that.
Those are
Yeah.
good. Sorry.
Is this one of the reasons why you like social media for this kind of stuff right here?
So social media, I have 3 different mushroom groups I'm a part of.
I'm in a mushroom group. It's a morel group though.
for IDing mushrooms, and it actually is teaching me. Okay, well, I have a book too because I'm a nerd. I have a book that I can look up different species or whatever. But in there, I mean, these people are
They're smart.
super smart.
Yeah, it's
super
wild.
smart.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but you have to look at the crown, and this is. I mean, it's
Yeah, because there's like false morels, which I never knew, and they look almost
can kill you.
identical. Yeah, and they can kill you. Mushrooms are scary.
No idea. You guys are mushroom nerds over here.
I am a mushroom nerd.
I'm not anywhere near a mushroom
I
nerd
like
like he is, but I got into morels.
Aren't you a bird nerd too,
I
Corey?
don't know why. I'm like an old person. I don't know.
bird
I
nerd?
like
He's a
birds.
bird
I like
nerd.
birds, yeah. Wow. I don't know.
Oh man,
It's the nature in you,
I
the
like
nature
that.
guy in
They
you.
used to call me Nature Boy as a kid. Yeah, that was my name.
Was that you in the woods I seen with the binoculars around my house?
Bird.
that's weird. Looking for your bird.
Did you have a leaf on too? No clothing, run
That's
around
usually-
naked and afraid.
Swinging from trees.
Why did-
Sorry, social media.
Yeah, but why else do you love social media? What are the things that you love about it?
I got a story.
Yeah, tell me a story.
So,
Tell us a story.
all right. So this is what I love about social media: the ability to connect with people that you might have lost or you might not have known were out there. So, about 9 years ago now. So quick backstory. I grew up without a father. My mom left my dad when I was 9 months old because he was a heroin addict and a 1% biker in Atlanta, Georgia. And I didn't know him. So I didn't know my family. And I had a huge family down there that I did not know. I knew that I had siblings, but I didn't know anything about them. So at 35 years old, I get a message from some lady with the same last name as me. She was like, "Hey, I'm your aunt. I'm your aunt from Georgia." And I'm like, "Hi, aunt from Georgia." And she was like, "You also have a brother and 2 sisters. Did you know that?" And I'm like, "Nope, didn't know that." And she was like, "Well, they're all on Facebook." And she's like, "Your dad is not doing well. He has cancer. And I thought it was important." She's like, "We've been looking for you for years, and we found you on Facebook." And I'm like, that's crazy, right?
That's awesome.
So the same night, I find my brother, and my brother and I start talking. on social media, and we're starting to connect. And it's kind of crazy, like our backgrounds and our stories and whatever. And he's like, I know our dad's a piece of shit. He was a better dad to me than he was to you, but he's a piece of shit. He was like, but I think you should come down here and get some closure. So I booked that night. I booked a flight to Georgia, and I flew to Georgia, and I met my entire fucking family down there, all 3 of my siblings and my dad. So if it wasn't for social media, my dad died that year, like 3 months fucking later, right? So if it wasn't for social media, I would have never met my dad to have that closure. I would have never met my family from Georgia, which is massive, right? So I have to be able to give social media a shout out in that aspect, because it connected me with people who were my family, who I didn't even know, 30 some years later, which would have never happened without it. So that's my good story.
I want to play devil's advocate on this, because my story about my brother is very similar, but not social media driven. I think social media makes it easier, 100%. But I have a brother from my dad's first marriage that was not allowed to engage with my father after he left his mother. So he was 5 when they divorced. Wasn't allowed to have any communication with my dad. Anytime my dad would send anything to him, his mom would take it out of the envelope so he couldn't find him. But it took me, this goes back before social media. I had to beg for information to figure out who this kid was, because, well, he's not a kid. He was 18 years older than me, but I had to send a letter. It took 6 months after I mailed a letter to find my brother. So I think social media makes it easier. There's other ways you can do it, but I do think it makes it easier, it makes connection faster, but it's not the only way. Yeah. I guess. I don't know. I'm just being a pain in the ass, I know.
Yeah. My mom had no way to contact anyone. I guess I could have probably tried to Google and figure out an address or send a letter or something, but I honestly never desired to do that. Yeah. I didn't give a shit. Like, why would I care? They never were part of my life for all those years. What did it really matter at the end of the day?
I didn't realize you had that's my same story, almost the exact same story, dude. Social media minus I found him when I was 17 for the first time, and then at 30, I got a call. He had cancer, and he had cancer in his jaw.
Your real dad?
My real dad.
Okay.
And I flew to Iowa because he was getting surgery, and we had a conversation, and he was stereotypical alcoholic, always had all these grand plans and would bullshit, there's money, I got money on the side for you. And I'm like, okay, cool. Right. Which I knew was garbage. Right. But at 30, that's when I made kind of amends and met my brothers and sisters and all the other people in my family that I had no clue that I had.
Right.
So, yeah.
Do you think
the closure thing was the most important thing?
Closure is important.
For sure. Like, I look at like Ancestry.com and 23andMe. I know they're not like social media platforms, but they kind of are.
I won't do them.
So that actually changed my life.
Yeah.
Ancestry.com.
But it's another avenue.
Oh yeah, that's where you met all the family from down south, right?
Yeah, I have. And we're close. Like
that's
it
cool.
was. I have cousins and aunts and uncles that I talk to on a weekly basis, or people that we've gone on vacation with, and I've learned my whole family history from Ancestry.
To me,
I can't go murder someone or I'm done immediately.
Yeah. So. You take it, there's 3 levels here, right? We started with a letter, so you have Facebook, then you go to 23andMe, and to me it's like, then there's the unknowns. You do a 23andMe at Ancestry.com, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know who this person is, and it says they're my sibling. You know what I'm saying? Like, it creates a whole other issue.
About a month ago, my cousin called me and said, I met a possible aunt. She's like, she is your aunt. She's like, she isn't necessarily claiming that she's your aunt, because my dad's father was the neighbor of my dad's father was the neighbor who was married.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
And so they pretended that there's all kinds of drama in that family.
See, that's the problem with 23andMe and stuff, right?
Right.
None of them accepted my dad as, but a lot of this though, honestly, has made me realize, how could he have been a good dad when he never felt like he fit in? He never knew what, you know what I'm saying? So none of them accepted him. Never.
Wow.
So my aunt ended up I actually sent her an Ancestry.com because we were having a conversation. I was like, she doesn't have a lot of money, so I was like, I'll send it to her. She did it, and she is. And, it's just kind of funny. We've been talking ever since then.
That's cool.
She's like, she's going down the rabbit hole now with family and figuring out who people are and the connection with everybody. So to me, that I love that.
Yeah, I'm scared to do my DNA.
To do yours.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't know, man. No comment.
I don't care.
No comment.
I would say I love like the fastness of it. Like that's where I find my news. So, like if there's something trending, I search it and like I find it instantly. Like you said before, I like the communication, just connecting with other people. But yeah, I think I just like the quickness of it.
But is the news real? Is the
That's
question.
That's what you have to watch
You
out
have to
for.
differentiate.
Yeah.
I think for locally, it's cool though. I think you can see what's going on. Like even not just like
Just in the community.
yeah, like
Yeah.
community
Yeah.
stuff, like events that are happening. It's how I find out about 90% of the concerts I go to.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about. That's a good point, Katie, because I didn't think about the information that you do get from
I
there
think
that's positive.
That's
right?
one thing Facebook is really good about is that event feature for sure.
Yeah.
But
I don't love it.
I don't
what
love
do
it.
you hate
I-
about it?
There's a lot of things I hate.
Well, then
about
let's talk about
Let's
it.
talk about. Yeah, this is going to be the biggest portion of the show right now. What do we hate about social media?
I hate the fact that I can have this idea of something that I want to accomplish in the day, and then an hour or 2 hours later, I'm still sitting on my couch looking at stupid shit that doesn't matter in the whole scheme of things, or getting caught up. And this for my kids. I'm sorry, I'm going on two different tangents here, but looking at other people at their best, or whatever the best is, or the fake picture, and thinking that that's what life is, and I'm like trying to teach them that's not real. None of it is real. It's all. I mean, some of it's real, but most of it is garbage to try to, so you can't hold yourself to that standard or, whatever.
Yeah,
So
you're
I
right.
don't love social media. I wish it wasn't around.
Well, I don't have a mic here. We're sharing between mics, but I did want to say one of the things that I do love about social media is I feel like it does present a more opportunity for people starting out like in their own business. From an advertising standpoint. I know like when I started Iron Valley, sharing, agents that joined the company, what we were doing, that was a big thing for us, and it really kind of spread the word of what we were doing to a lot of our peers. And I feel like it was substantial in our growth, so I feel like that it does present a lot of opportunity for people too, that otherwise maybe didn't have the resources to do the traditional marketing and advertising, which is very costly,
Agreed.
in standard mediums. But as far as the hating part on social media, I feel like people act in a way that they wouldn't otherwise act in person. On social media, they feel like they can say things in about people or in the open forum that again wouldn't happen if it wasn't behind a keyboard or whatever.
Keyboard warrior.
The keyboard warrior.
Keyboard warriors.
Do you think platforms, so interestingly enough, I discovered this the other day on LinkedIn, you can verify yourself on LinkedIn now. So do you think other platforms should be doing that so that you have to be,
Facebook
you can't
already
hide,
has that.
You can't hide behind
They all
things.
have it actually.
Did
Facebook
I
has
didn't
it.
notice it on
Instagram,
You have to-
you can pay for it.
Yeah, and
So it's
Facebook, you have to
that's
pay
what
for
have
it,
to
too.
watch for. Like,
Yeah.
you can get
But are
verified,
they
but you
literally
have to pay for it.
verifying you and your ID? Like
They say they are.
LinkedIn is.
know.
Yeah, for
LinkedIn
Facebook is
a-
yeah.
yeah.
You have to identify.
haven't
There's
messed
they
with
find
that.
ways to there's like a questionnaire.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's necessarily the fake accounts or the people hiding behind fake accounts. Even just general individuals. You see people say things
yeah.
that they're legitimate profiles, but say
Yeah.
things that never would get said, about a person or a business or whatever, to somebody's face or whatever. It's just
say it to my face.
I think the thing I hate the most about it is the unrealistic expectations it sets for society. So I think that Corey and I used to do this. We used to laugh at this all the time, right? So there'd be real estate agents on Facebook bragging about how much business they're doing. And they're like, oh, I'm doing all this business and I'm so busy and I'm doing this and I'm killing it and I'm doing that. And then Corey and I would run their numbers and they sold 3 houses in the last 12 months. And it's kind of that. And then the problem is you have other agents looking at them doing that and they're stressed out because they feel like they might have sold 5 houses, but they're looking at this person's Facebook and they're like, they're killing it. They had to sell like 20. And no, they're making you feel like they're killing it. Perception is reality. And then I think like, going to the youth right now you have all these people that set these unrealistic expectations for beauty, right? For success. And I think that, perception is reality. So people take those things to heart and they set unrealistic expectations for themselves. And then I think that's creating a society of people that have, they're self-conscious, right? They don't have that, I don't know, man. They're just, people are getting, their mental, I think what it's doing mentally for the youth isn't good. I think that aspect where you see it, like not the bullying even, but just the unrealistic expectation. Like kids, like, I'm supposed to be beautiful. I'm supposed to look like this. I'm supposed to be fit. I'm supposed to be working out every day. I'm supposed to be rich. I'm supposed to have this car. I'm supposed to have that. Like it's
the speed of it too.
It's the speed.
It's really the speed. It's not like those things didn't exist before, like comparing yourself, keeping up with the Joneses, right? Like people have always done that, but it is it is the speed and
like our generation, it was like MTV, right? Whatever you saw on TV or like
Cribs, MTV
Cribs, yeah. Or like magazines and things like that, right? Which was a slower speed. We still got it. Corey came back. I was going to ask you this question. Have your older kids stopped using social media at all, or are they still busy on it? Like I'm noticing that trend a little bit.
Rainey has gotten rid of, I think she got rid of TikTok actually, because she's like, I'm just tired of scroll. She's like, all I do is scroll and scroll and scroll. She's like, I'm over it. So she has gotten rid of that. I know they use Snapchat. That's what they use to communicate. I mean, that's really, I think, her main one. And she's on Facebook too a little bit. Yeah. And no, Snapchat and Instagram, I think, are the two big ones, honestly, for them.
Katie, I mean, you're a marketing person, so it's hard to get rid of those things. But did you ever take a break from any of it when you went to college? Or?
Not when I went to college. Okay. I feel like I have since I've been away from college. I've just seen like the negative aspects of social media, and ever since I was like 12. I've been on social media just like constantly. So I think at this point, I'm just over it. Yeah. Like I like to break myself away because like you said, there's so many unrealistic standards. Like anytime I go on Instagram, TikTok, I see a new influencer like on this huge branded trip and they're like, oh, I just posted like one post, they get like $5,000+. And it's just, you're thinking like, oh my God, that's what I should be doing. Or like they're getting this, so I need to get this. And you just, you fall into that and it's just very negative.
I love going somewhere where you don't have access and you can't use your social media.
Yeah.
That, just in even a couple days, like 2 days away, you feel like, oh, I can think. I'm actually using my own brain to think through thoughts, whole full thoughts on my own without the influence of other garbage. And you're constantly being fed into your, and that's what it is. Really, at the end of the day, it's marketing for
Do you guys ever do like temporary shutdowns on your social media?
Never.
No. Do you?
No.
No. You do?
Yes, I have to. Like I was on a, well, I have to sometimes get away from Facebook. It drives me absolutely crazy. Like I get.
Do you silence people even if you don't take a break?
I hate to say this, but
all the time I snooze people for 30 days all day long.
Okay.
I've been unfriending people that don't, not real estate people, well, a couple, but I have been unfriending people that aren't my people. And maybe that's dumb, but if you're gonna hurt my mental state by your stupid comments, I'm over it. Like I don't have time for that anymore.
Yeah. I find that to be one of the hardest things too. Like about like how do you find that balance? There's people who, Facebook is the great example, right? Because we follow a lot of our agents, we follow our owners, we follow everybody, and there's definitely people that I'm like, I feel like I need to have it to make sure we're protecting our business. And then there's times where I'm like, I really don't want to see what this person has to say, like, but if I silence them, who's watching them, It's like babysitting.
That's
sometimes.
Honestly, that's what I use it for probably the most, is just business and just looking through it. And I like to see what other agents at other brokerages are doing well. Who do we need to reach out to? I'm always trying to friend agents from other states or other areas in hopes that they see all the Iron Valley stuff and they might become a franchisee. I'm like strategic on Facebook when it comes to that kind of stuff. And trying to make connections in general when it comes to business, the networking aspect of things when it comes to business, and friend requesting people that have the same mindset. So those kind of things, I think I do go, like Corey said, I think one of the other things I hate about it is it's time consuming for me sometimes. And I do get caught in the scrolling on Facebook for no reason. And sometimes I don't even think I'm reading or looking at anything. I'm literally just scrolling, pretending I'm looking and reading at stuff to scroll.
Or do you ever watch a movie anymore? Like fully watch a movie? Rarely ever.
Right.
Rarely.
My wife's like, are you even watching this? Because I'm doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up on that.
even on TikTok, there are like clips of movies. So I'll be scrolling through and then I'm just like going from part 1 to part 2. I'm like, I can find the whole thing on TikTok. But I think another thing that I really just don't like is with my generation, like there's no face-to-face communication anymore. I wish so badly we would have had like more time without it, just being able to actually like spend time with each other in person, where I feel like my communication skills, even though that's what I've majored in, like that's all my classes were about, I feel like my communication skills compared to like older generations are just crap because I'm just used to seeing a screen all the time.
Because you did LOL all the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I agree with that, and I think this makes me feel old though too. Like communication for me, I like to have that face-to-face communication, or even on a phone, so you can gauge someone's interaction. Like you can't through a text, you can't figure out what someone's thinking through a text message. You can't really tell anything through a text. So for me, you lose a lot of that. Especially as a salesperson, you know, you lose a lot of that control, or even not even control, but ability to gauge what someone else is thinking.
It's so easy in text message too. Like you don't know what mood I'm in, and I could totally misinterpret what you're saying to me because I'm in a mood.
Don't know, don't care.
Yeah, Adam did that the other day, and I was like, "That's mature," because I didn't know the background, and I was in a mood. It was like, okay, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know I'm probably skipping ahead or something, but
you're fine.
And Corey and I talked a little bit about this. I'm glad I didn't grow up with social media. I feel really bad for kids. I do. I'm not even kidding. I hate it. I hate it for society. I hate that like people can't get away with stuff.
Unrealistic standards.
It's crazy. Like. And I'm guilty of it. I have Life 360 for my kids. And me and Corey were talking because, if I had Life 360 at 16 and my mom and on a regular day when I'm supposed to be in school and I'm in New York City in the hood, and could you imagine like if my mom looked at Life 360 and she's like, excuse me, it says that you're in New York City. Is this thing off? And I no. You know what I mean? Like, and he would be like, he was saying, I'll be on the corner in the middle of the day in Philadelphia, in the wrong neighborhood. And it's like, I
would have been at the beach every day.
And now it's like, my kids are like, they're somewhere that they shouldn't be for 10 minutes. And I'm like, why are you there? Like it's helicopter parent, but
we did that for a while. And then Erica's like, we have to stop doing this.
To.
So we turned it off on all of our kids' phones for the fact that they were all, you should be able to live. They should be able to live without us, like, constantly watching them. When we knew they were good, then we were like, okay, like we can take this off of your phone now. We're not gonna helicopter you anymore. But.
My sister,
but that's why we do, because we were doing stupid crap.
We
like
know
that
what
when
we were
kids.
doing.
I'm sorry.
No, but like I never took that approach with Alyssa. I was always like, nobody watched me, so I'm not going to do that to you unless you give me a reason to. That's just how I've kind of practically always been as a human being. My sister is the exact opposite. And I remember at one point she called me and goes, do you have Life 360 on your phone? Can you check on my kids? Because she was at my mom's. I'm like, your kids are teenagers. And my daughter is literally right down the street. Like I'm not, one, I don't have it on my phone. And two, like stop freaking monitoring your kids who never do anything wrong.
So I don't ever look at it for Maddie, for example. Maddie's 17, but she drives. And I have it for her for that, right? Like, God forbid she gets in a car accident or something happens like that. So that's the only, I honestly don't ever look at it. Like, I don't look at where she made a drive or where she is at the moment. I never do that. But like, or
is she doing 100 miles an hour down the road?
Well,
that's why we did it for Donovan.
Maddie is a pretty aggressive driver, and it's 100% my fault, and it's fine because she's a really good driver. But no, it's just more like, like God forbid she breaks down or does whatever. I want to be able to like locate her and know that she's there. So I'm not the same way with her. Dylan is a little different, right? So Dylan at 14 got caught at a college party at 14 years old. Okay. So you're damn
my
right.
type of kid.
Yeah, he's like me. I mean, he is me. Like, and I love him, and he's a good kid. But there is an aspect where I wish somebody would have been more of a parent to me when I was a kid, and somebody would have cared, because I might have had an easier road of life. Maybe not. You never know. But I'm not like on top of him 24/7. But if it's 1 o'clock in the morning and he's sleeping at his friend's house, I want to know that he's sleeping at his fucking friend's house. I want to know that he's not at a college party where some 21-year-old could beat the shit out of him because he doesn't belong there or says the wrong thing because he doesn't know, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, and I know there's like a happy medium there, but I'm going to keep an eye on him a little bit.
Well, it's funny that you say that because it's like that balance. And I always thought the same thing. I'm like, sometimes I feel like if somebody was always or being a little bit more attentive to what I needed as a kid, then I would have not been in trouble. I guarantee if we had social media, I would have been the kid that got in trouble all the time for the parties, all the alcohol, because that's what everyone did. They came over. Nobody cared. I had nobody watching me. It was like, everyone go to Lisa's tonight because nobody's there. You can get drunk and nobody's going to care.
This is, and I probably missed this when I went to the bathroom, but what I miss for my kids, not necessarily for me, but is the going out on my bike, as a kid all day, literally all day. I'd leave in the morning. I'd be sometimes 10 miles away from my house. We'd be playing basketball or doing whatever, or the ability to just be outside. Like kids they're not outside at all. They're not.
But I feel like part of that is the change in society. Like, and not from social media aspect, but like a safety aspect, right?
I sound really old when I just said that.
Yeah, like I know stuff happened when we were kids, but the world is fucked up now. Like
now
it is.
You consume that all the time with social
well,
media.
you see
But is it?
So it's
Is it anymore?
Or do we see
right.
it more
I think it's
often?
that we see it more.
And you might be right.
We have the access to. Well, I mean, obviously, there's way more shootings than there were.
Oh yeah, a lot more.
So it is worse. I think it is worse, but I think it's the fact that we have the ability to now know, okay, well, this just happened. So we're like trying to shelter our kids even more.
Super Freakonomics, if you've ever heard of that book, they did a study on like car seats, right? Like like when I was a kid, we didn't have car seats, right? Like my dad literally built a box in the floor of the Bronco so that when I was a baby, they could just throw the laundry basket with me in it in a box, right? Like I remember us traveling the country, no seatbelts, running around the van.
I remember hitting my head off the metal, the Nova. My mom had a blue Nova, hitting my head on the metal dashboard.
But that book literally did a study, or it shows the study of like when car seats came out versus no car seats, and it's really no difference. So like, there is something to be said about the fact that maybe things aren't as bad, that people, because you're seeing it all the time, you're looking at it.
What's fear mongering too? I mean, is
a little bit of that. Yeah.
Anyway.
Right.
I think society, though, in general, has gotten away from morals and values. I mean, that's a given. Like, I think there was way more morals and values back in the days than there are now, and I think that's changed. And I'm not going to say that from a spiritual, but just morals and values, not like much. I'm not going with a spiritual way with that, but I feel like those have kind of gone out the window a lot more. I think it's more commonplace to just be a piece of shit.
A POS.
Seriously,
that was a broad brushstroke, brother.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Or was it a narrow one? I don't know.
How do you think your life would have been different without social media as a kid?
I don't know. I just feel like actually connecting with people and not worrying all the time. Like I feel like it just brought a lot of like stress and anxiety in my life. Just like comparing myself to other people and just like sometimes feeling behind people my age. I think it would have just helped my like mental state.
Do you think there's a time, and maybe this is a question on that board right now, but do you think there's a time that it's going to go away completely and people are just going to be done and go back to a normal relationship? And
I wonder about that a lot. Like if there's a time where people are just going to be like, you know what, I've had enough.
I think it's
go
going to
back
get worse.
to like the roots, but I don't know.
It's to me, it's like
it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Like VR, because I mean, if you look at Apple's new invention that they're coming out with right now, you can literally walk around and see whatever you want to see, right? So I can already see where that's going to go. You're going to be with people like
not
that,
really be there,
right? Like you're gonna
be sitting here and not really being in the
you know what I'm
really
saying? Like
here.
I think it's gonna get worse with technology, to be honest.
If you leave it up to Mark Zuckerberg, he's trying to build that digital metaverse world that we're all gonna live this fake life in. So.
Well, he took a huge hit on that.
Oh, he did
on the gamble,
but he did pivot good with the reels.
He did. I don't know if the metaverse is going to catch on. I think people still want real. People want real. There's people that want to be lost in that fakeness, but introverts.
Do you find, and going down a different path too, like the whole technology thing to begin with, like when I worked at Vanguard, we were not allowed to take our cell phones into any meetings. Like you couldn't have, and we had BlackBerries at the time. You couldn't take your BlackBerries into the meeting. You had to leave them out. And like,
I loved my BlackBerry.
you know, I'm not gonna lie, I liked mine a lot too.
BlackBerry was badass.
It was great having that keyboard.
It
I
was
don't
so
care what
cool.
anyone says, but
I skipped
like
over the
now,
BlackBerry and went right to the iPhone when it came out.
you are also
I had the
younger
first
than
iPhone
us,
too,
so,
but BlackBerry was out long before that.
yeah. And then BlackBerry got the stylus.
And the Nextel.
And now
I
we're
missed the
back to
Nextel, the little
styluses
two-way
with the
chirp.
iPads. But anyway,
Remember chirping with the Nextel? That was actually
I
kinda
loved my
cool.
Nextel.
Yeah,
I feel like every
chirping.
construction worker had one of those Nextels.
Oh, they all
They
had that.
loved them, man.
And they had that one that was like durable, that was like
Yeah.
rubber and yellow
That's-
and black.
I had
Yellow and black.
I had that one.
You just throw it at shit.
Now imagine that Justin worked construction and I was at Vanguard and I'd be sitting in meetings and I'd get the chirp and I'm like, oh my gosh.
You know what my
as he's
favorite
on the
phone was?
job.
Seriously, the Sidekick. Do you guys remember that?
No.
So it
Oh,
was a
the
big
one
one,
that-
like this, and then you slid the whole screen, and it came up, and it was a full keyboard. It was that.
I
thing
actually-
was badass. That I liked. I liked the Sidekick.
Before we had all the text messaging, I loved my Razor. 'cause
I
it
liked
just
my
slipped
Sky
right in my
Pager.
pocket.
Razor was
Remember
cool.
the Sky
Oh, I had
Page?
the Sky Pager.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh. Anyway, my whole
No,
I
point.
like my
911.
Nokia.
1, 2, 3.
Actually, I had the
I had a
Motorola.
Nokia. I had
You
an
had the
original.
Motorola, like the original
Original
OG.
I had the
Motorola
brick
that
phone.
had
The brick phone.
antenna
Yeah.
that came,
Yeah, I had the brick phone.
You had the brick. The brick
bag.
was a long, big
You had
one
the
with
No,
bag.
the
the
one
bag.
that you flipped open.
Yeah, the flip.
That's
well,
the
that
brick-
was
that's what you
like the
consider the
second
brick.
generation.
It goes like this,
Yeah.
like that, and you had one flip open, and then it had the. Yeah.
Katie's like,
It had
what
the
the
antenna that you would
Had
pull
the-
out the
yeah,
top.
That's what we called the brick phone.
The
And
bag phone.
I'll go even further. Yeah, my stepdad had the bag phone that you had to pull the whole bag out to charge. Like it was so stupid.
My whole, I was trying to go down a path though, like, I find this distracting. And I hate that when, I hate it with us. We'll be in meetings and all of a sudden, especially those of you who have ADD, you'll start picking up your phones and I'm like, you're not even paying attention right now. Like, do you think that will ever change or go back to more of a, you've got to stop doing that? Because people do feel like if you're not listening to me and you're on your phone, then you don't really care, right? Like,
Do you know where the problem lies? For me, it's keeping up. So it's like I'm not on my phone like doing nonsense. I'm like trying to keep up with text messages. I think the problem is people are so used to everyone being accessible immediately that they expect it. And the minute that you don't reply within 10 minutes, there's something wrong with you.
yeah.
And that's what we have to get out of that mindset for people to be able to put their phones down for a long period.
Text messages do feel intrusive because
you're-
people feel more inclined to be able to send you a text at an off hour, or like over the weekend or something that really should wait till during the week where, they're not going to pick up the phone and call you, but they'll send you a text. And then
you're
when
a
you
bad
don't
business
respond,
person if you don't respond.
yeah, then it,
But that shouldn't be the thing. Like you're a bad business person. There's boundaries.
There
I
should
think
be.
people should maybe start setting boundaries again. Like, hey, I'm available from not. I used to get mad at real estate agents, honestly, that did that, but really they're doing that for their life so that they can have those boundaries and they can have their weekends. And telling somebody, hey, I'm going to communicate with you the next day. They're still doing business, so obviously it's working for them.
The problem with that, though, is that our business isn't like that. Like, if you're a person and you get off of work at 5 p.m. and you need to talk to your agent at 7, you have to talk to your agent at 7.
Yeah.
If you need to go see homes on the weekends,
it
you're
is
working at-
expected.
It's tough. It's a catch-22 because it's like, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it,
Exactly.
and somebody's going to go to that person that does it that's more responsive
When
at any time.
Well, when I got into business in 2006, lenders, if you called them on the weekend, you get their
You got
voicemail.
nothing, yeah.
You didn't get a lender to respond to you after hours.
Right.
Do you guys remember when we had the Realtor.com leads, how horrible that was for our life?
Oh, it was terrible.
Dude, seriously, how many movies did you get up in the middle of the movie to make that phone call quick? I
Dinners.
can't tell you how many
my,
dinners,
my,
movie.
my kids and wife would get so mad at me, but
Always.
every one I
I gotta take
would
this
jump.
lead. I gotta take this lead, and I just dip. I gotta take this lead right now.
Or you get them at 3 a.m. I remember those ones that would come across. And I'd wake up in the morning and be like, why am I getting something
Yeah.
at 3 in the
That
morning?
was a drunk one. Somebody was
Yeah,
drinking. and
somebody was
I want to buy a house right now while I'm hammered.
$1 million. But yeah, it's man, social, like Katie brought it up a couple times. It's that everything is instant.
Yeah.
Everything is right there, which is good and bad.
Yeah. Definitely.
People don't think either. I think the problem with that is it creates the ability to not have to take a second to think about what you say. It's so easy just to spout up. Like, and I've been guilty of that, right? Back in the days when I would rant on Facebook, right? Because we've all had those times in our life where we did that and didn't think about it. I'd be pissed off at something, and the first thought to me was, I'm going to throw this on Facebook. Fuck this.
Do you ever
Yeah.
look back? You know how your messages pop up? I'm like,
Oh,
damn,
yeah.
what the
Your
hell was I
memories.
thinking? What was I
Yeah.
thinking? Well, why would I have said that? There's a lot of those coming from years ago.
Because it makes it easy to not put any thought into it and just vent onto that. So, and there's people that vent every day. I see people do it all the time, like vent about I can tell someone exactly who they are because I see it on their Facebook every day. It's wild.
That to me, that is crazy. And then I don't like when you run into people and they just assume you know everything about them. Like you're following their every move on social media, and it's
you
like
probably saw it on Facebook.
I'm like,
pay attention. Sorry.
no, that drives me nuts. Like unless I'm having a conversation with you, I have no idea what's going on in your life.
The only thing I try to post is positive. I honestly try to post positive stuff or stuff that's my family's doing, or I try to stay away from all the negative. For me, it's about expressing that positive stuff.
But even when you post the positive stuff, don't you find you have those doom people who still turn it into something negative? It makes it like
there's always that one fucking person who's gonna ruin it.
There is like no filter.
There's
whatsoever.
always a naysayer or a commenter.
There's always a Karen.
It never fails.
The sky was amazing today, guys. It was so blue. Sky wasn't blue. It was like green. and there was clouds. And I swear to God, the sun was a little weird today. And it was like 80 degrees. This is shit.
I'm pretty sure there was an alien.
Yeah,
like can you just
They make it political.
Oh yeah.
can you just go away?
Oh my God. If so and so was the president, it would be a better day. It would have been brighter. The sky would have been way brighter. The air would have been cleaner.
I think to the point though too with the instant stuff, and we've talked about this recently. The
Hecklers.
the instant gratification, and then the ability just to do like that, like vomit diarrhea from your mouth or whatever your fingers. People have lost their critical thinking skills too.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm
And
with
that
Yeah.
drives me crazy. Like if you see
That's a good
something,
point.
are you sitting there and going, is that legit? Or is that somebody?
You have to look through different kind of lenses. Like,
You
is
do.
this what I'm going to post? Is it going to benefit anybody? Is it really?
Right.
Is it real? You know what I mean? Or is it going to be offensive to someone? You really should think about that.
Yeah.
You know, I think. Well, I didn't necessarily when I was younger or in the when social media. Now I try to.
Yeah.
And even my positive may not be positive for someone else, but really it's about it's for me. It's not necessarily for anybody else.
Right.
So it's whatever.
You know, my favorite thing on social media is couples.
Yeah.
I love it. I love when
When they have the same social media
No,
page?
when
What
they
do you
have
mean?
different social medias. But okay, for example, I'll just use myself. I'm just like hypothetically speaking. So I'll get on social media and I'll be like, fuck this girl. She cheated on me. She's the worst fucking person in the world.
Yes.
I can't stand this
Okay.
chick. Like, she's terrible. And then 2 days later, there's a picture of them and they're
Yes.
checking in somewhere
Yes.
with a
Yes.
picture together. I love her and our relationship
Why-
is so great.
why would
Like,
you ever?
We don't forget that 2 days ago you just called her the worst person in the world.
Why do people do that?
It's
There's one right now,
wild.
and I've been sharing it with Erica. I'm not going to go into who, but there is literally her boyfriend smacking her. She has videos of this guy hitting her, and then next day posting pictures of syringes in his
Oh
like
my
what is
God.
happening? I was like, she should probably leave the situation
And not put
her
that on social
glasses.
media.
Her glasses are broken. He hit me again and broke another pair of my glasses. Like that's what she's posting on social media.
Oh my God.
Like, what do you do as a person? Like, what do you do in
Again,
those situations?
and then you're
You
going,
reach out and see if
Yeah.
she needs help.
you do.
Reach
but-
out and touch someone.
Right. But it also goes to the people who will instantly see something bad happening and pick up their phone to record as
Yeah.
opposed to going and helping somebody, right? I mean, is that again, it goes to critical thinking. Is that legit? It probably is. But then
It's legit.
You know what I'm saying? But then you have people who do shit like that though because they just want to be infamous, right?
Yeah.
I don't
and people
know.
Well,
thrive
she
off-
definitely
I hate the people
thrives.
that
She
thrive
thrives off that
Yeah.
attention, and it's whatever
negative
It's
attention.
negative attention.
I'm usually the kind of person that when I see that, I'll message them and I'd be like, hey, one, I don't really think you should put that on social media. Two, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like I had a good friend of mine, I won't call him out, but he went through a time period where he was just getting wasted all the time and partying and had all this drama. And all this shit was everything was on social media all the time.
Right.
And then he'd always get caught up and some shit would happen, right? You guys don't know him. He's from Harrisburg. It's my boy, but and he started to almost manifest negative things to happen for him because everything was on there. And then I just got on one day and I hit him up. I text him and I'm like, bro, knock it off. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you can't get a job. Nobody wants to fuck with you. And do you look at what you're posting every day?
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, damn, bro, you're right. And sometimes people just need someone to care enough to let them know, like, you
To
gotta
call them
stop
out.
and
Yeah.
not be on there feeding into it.
I messaged a business person who was posting constant political stuff.
Yeah.
You know, definitely on the other side of the aisle as me, but whatever. And I messaged them and said, look, like, this is none of my business. I said, you can do what you want. I was like, but you're alienating 50% of your possible clients, you know?
Yeah.
And then they kind of told me off. I'm like, I'm just saying, you know, I
trying to help you out.
I tried. I
Yeah.
toe that line. You know, why would you want to alienate any business coming into your
Right.
by making stupid comments? It may be what you believe, but keep it to yourself.
Right.
Keep it to yourself.
What about like, and you were just talking about things coming up on your feed. Some of it's algorithm based. So then it says to you, like, what are you looking at? Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
that
it tries
you're
to
getting.
feed you those comments that you want to see or you want to hear. So
Right.
you become isolated in your little bubble of thinking because you think everybody is feeling that way, but you're only seeing that what you
Right.
want to see.
And that's the whole critical thinking part, like being accountable too, to be able to say, I know that's what I want to think, but is that actually accurate? Like, do I need to go look further? I think that's where the accessibility is a problem.
I don't think looking further is an issue. I think it's, for me, life is too short to have a bunch of negative crap in my life. Like, and I was allowing social media before to dictate how I felt for the day.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that.
It's
I will not do-
self-awareness.
Right. I
It's
won't do it anymore.
self-awareness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I used to let things too, man. I'd be like this. I'd be going, scrolling. I see something like, they didn't say, I'd go to comment right away in like anger. I'd be like,
Yeah.
yo, and then, I there was a long time where I did. And then there was a time where I almost did. And now I don't even think about it anymore just because I was self-aware that I was doing that. And you and I remember probably like a year and a half or 2 years ago, you and I talked about that. We were both like, man, I just got to stop letting it affect me because it pisses you
I've
off.
stopped. I have.
Yeah,
Like,
I have
don't,
too.
If it's stupid, I'm not commenting. And sometimes if it's a real stupid comment, you know, especially like a racial comment, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't need to see your
You
stuff
don't need
anymore.
to,
And maybe
yeah.
that's being closed-minded, but why? It's my life.
Yeah.
If I don't want to have to deal with that negativity, I'm not gonna.
It's
deal
that ability to just keep scrolling,
Right.
right? To keep scrolling.
Katie, what's your take on social media and the ability for startups to grow because of it? You know, like, what are your thoughts? Like, what have you seen with your generation and the way social media has positioned them as business people or entrepreneurs to be able to grow their business and do it in a manner that's, you know, like quicker and better? So
I think that's one good thing about social media. Definitely just from like the business standpoint, putting yourself out there and getting the brand awareness. But at the same time, I think as time goes on, it's making it more difficult for businesses because you always have to like keep up with something new and find a way to make yourself different from everyone else. Like with all these trends and everything coming out, it's hard to like differentiate yourself from the crowd. So I think it's a good thing, but also you just have to like kind of watch.
yeah.
Awesome.
What would you say right now? Like, so when you're looking at social media and there's people out there that are looking to grow their social media or market themselves, what right now is trending and what do you feel like they need to look at from a social media standpoint?
I would definitely just say engagement, putting yourself out there, like even commenting on like other people's posts, just like so people know your name and like who you are. But I think one thing that like to stand out from the rest is just being real. Like a lot of people on TikTok that I like are the ones that are real and they're not like, okay, like this is me just like faking it. Like I like the ones that like show you like the truth behind things. So yeah.
That's a good point.
Authenticity.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that things are shifting that way.
Yeah.
I feel that way. I feel like that people are starting to get tired of the BS
Yeah.
and they are searching out for people who are real.
Yep.
I would agree with
I
that.
think though that's also where platforms have to change their algorithm because I know like TikTok is notorious for not pushing videos out if you're not made up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or presenting yourself a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So like they want you to conform to a standard.
Yeah, and they have so many filters all the time. Like the
Right.
filters that they
Oh, the
make are so
filters.
realistic. So it's like you'll see a video and it's just like, how do you look like that? And then it's a filter. Like nothing is real. It's just,
Oh,
I
you
don't
know, one thing we didn't talk about is dating in the social media age, right? So I just had a
Yeah.
conversation with a
That's true.
single friend of mine,
Yeah.
and he's like, you wouldn't believe the amount of dates I go on, and the person looks entirely different
Oh, I'm
than the
sure.
person I've been talking to for the past month. He'd be like 15. They'd send me 15 to 20 photos at least throughout the course of us talking before we met for the first time. And then you get there and it's not the same person. Like it's the same person, but it's not because of all the filters. And it's discouraging for people in the dating world. Like it is, you hear that. Like I talk to so many people about it. Like, you know, even like to the point where people are 100 pounds heavier or lighter than they are in their pictures, right? Like that's wild to me. Like, don't you think at some point that you're gonna have to prove who you are in person? Like it's wild.
When I DJ'd, we called them strobe light honeys back in the day.
Oh my God.
They would look great in the strobe light, but then when you bring them out to the bar with normal light, you're like, oh no.
Well, you know, we have agents
Isn't
who
that beer goggles too?
Yes.
That's another
whatever. We have agents that catfish on their websites and business
yeah.
cards too.
Their 1995 glamour shot.
Oh my gosh.
They do that in politics too.
Oh, they sure do.
Yeah, like
man.
y'all, please update your headshots.
I just had to update all mine because
Please.
I'm guilty of that. Like I was just lazy and didn't update mine for 3 years, and I look totally different.
So we asked about dating. That we should probably talk to the one that's younger.
Yeah, what's dating?
Know about that?
Do you use social
have you
media
done
for
that?
dating at all?
No, I honestly don't. I think it just puts like a false perspective of everyone. So I'm like more old school, I guess what you could say when it comes to that. But I know, like kind of on the subject, I've met people online that were going to High Point, like when I was first going into college, and when I met them in person, like they were girls, but when I met them in person, I didn't even know who they were. I was like, wait, who are you? And then I was like, I've been talking to you for months, but I had no idea.
Yeah.
I will say though, that for social media and going to college was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like Alyssa,
Definitely.
when she was getting into school and being able to connect with people who were going to start and what dorm they were going to be in and like trying to find roommates. It made it, I'm like, we didn't have that luxury when I went to college.
And more comfortable.
You're like, you showed up to college when I was in college and you're like, I don't even know who my roommate's going to be. You know?
That's very true.
So there are some benefits there. I can't imagine if I had to date right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I
think it would suck.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of my friends that if like the guy that they're talking to doesn't have social media, it's portrayed as like a bad thing where it's like, what's wrong with you that you don't have like Instagram or Snapchat? But that's just how it is.
I was talking to somebody who is older, not old, like in his 30s, who's currently dating and he said he could have a date every day, basically. And I don't mean it like weirdly. He's like, he's like, he's like, it's hard because you think people portray themselves one way and it's the complete opposite. Yep. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, it's different day and age. Social media has changed the game for sure in a lot of different aspects. I think we could probably have another podcast on this at some point too. I feel like
we barely even touched on it.
We've been on long enough. I think we're probably going to have to cut it here shortly, but
thanks guys again.
Love you guys. Tune in.
See ya.